科幻经典系列新作《星际迷航3：超越星辰》9月2日内地正式上映。自称忠实迷弟的影片主演西蒙·佩吉，片中整装回归，再次饰演进取号轮机长斯科特一角，并首度扛起《星际迷航》编剧重任，再展自己的创作才华，也让影迷和观众对这位身兼演员、编剧、制片人多重身份的英国影人刮目相看。影片上映前夕，时光网独家对话影人西蒙·佩吉，分享他出道多年的演艺经历，也听他讲述自己惊喜不断的演艺人生。
Brian and JJ were always very aware that I had another string to my bow creatively, that I was a screenwriter, and I think me and Berkey were chatting about where Star Trek was going to go next. I knew they were moving away from an idea they already had and were going to start again. And Berkey and I were just sort of chatting about ideas and riffing on sort of themes, and eventually he came back to me and said, well, why don't you write this one? And it was a rather monumental moment when I kind of just went, okay, rather than even think about it for a second, because I think it's better to regret something that you tried than something you didn't do. And because it was such a big responsibility, but I felt very excited. You know, I was going to get to create situations and characters in this world that I love. I was getting to write for some actors who are my favorite actors in the world, and it just felt like a huge privilege.
I'm just saying your character actually even funnier, right, in this new movie.
Well, Scotty's always...
He gave himself the best line.
虽然坦言自己压力山大，西蒙·佩吉的《星际》系列编剧首秀还是获得了影片主创和影迷朋友们的肯定与赞许。而兼具编剧和演员双重身份的他，相比那些职业编剧们来说，也更拥有自己得天独厚的创作悠长。
It helped knowing how they played those roles, you know, their own characterizations I was very familiar with. Knowing them personally meant that I could be honest with them and go to them, you know, on a one-to-one basis and talk about what we had in mind and what they wanted, what they felt they wanted to see. But knowing how they played the characters was the biggest help. You know, I've seen them do it before, and you know, on many occasions, of course, because when we shoot the movies, we do take after take after take. So it wasn't just in 2 other films for me; it was in 2 other shooting experiences, and that made it sort of fun to write for them and write for the way that they play the roles.
依据搭档们的表演方式和特点来创作，西蒙·佩吉的编剧秘籍源于他多年的表演经历。而说起他的演艺之路，还要从他的少年时代说起。
I'd always been interested in acting as a kid because my mom was interested in it on an amateur level, and I decided when I was about 14 or 15 that I'd like to pursue it as a career. And I found a college in the UK that enabled me to study acting, and then went on to university to study acting. And whilst I was there, I realized that acting wasn't the safest job in the world, and that I might be sitting around waiting for the phone to ring a lot of the time. And stand-up comedy became an outlet for me as a performer. You know, I liked comedy, and stand-up was a way of having some say over what I did. I was able to go out and get myself jobs and be working a lot of the time. And so for a while, I was a stand-up comic.
Hello, tonight on HTV West, Monty, a cat from Bedminster, is locked in the back of the Lakers truck. A rumpity-bumpity baker's truck. For about 5 hours.
I was seen by a producer when I was working in London, and they invited me to come and audition for a show, and I found my way into television and back into acting that way. I had the very fortunate opportunity of being able to create a sitcom with Edgar Wright and Jessica Hines, which was Spaced, which was the beginnings of the rest of my career in a way. You know, that was the beginning of Shaun of the Dead, and all my collaborations with Edgar Wright.
No, Mike, stay with me. So tired. No, Mike. On a battle, friend. No, Mike. Do you know, I really enjoyed that today.
Me too. You always enjoy it.
I enjoyed it a little bit more than usual today.
Spaced led to Shaun of the Dead, and Shaun of the Dead led to so much. That opened so many doors for us globally that I haven't really had chance to sort of take a break. And I felt like after I finished doing Star Trek Beyond, I suddenly felt like I hadn't stopped for 10 years almost, you know, and I really felt like I needed a break, and I just wanted to be at home and concentrate on my family for a bit. And I said to my agents in the US and in the UK, you know, don't call me for a little bit. Don't call me unless Steven Spielberg rings. And then he did. so, you know, which the comedy of which was not lost on me. And I was very grateful that he did. But, you know, it's felt like one continuous thing for me from Spaced right up to now.
凭借在《巫士生非》中的出色表演，西蒙·佩吉迅速在影视圈脱颖而出，并赢得了英国喜剧奖最佳喜剧新人的提名。而也正是从这部剧开始，他和好朋友尼克·弗罗斯特、导演埃德加·赖特组成的英伦怪咖铁三角，正式开启了他们古灵精怪、脑洞大开，被誉为冰激凌3部曲的银幕创作。
Well, they were sort of labours of love at the same time as being calling cards for us. Every time we've done a film together, myself and Edgar, they've always been intensely personal, and we just are, you know, we are simpatico. Me, Edgar and Nick have a kind of sensibility which we're very in tune with each other. We find the same things funny, we take joy from the same things. Edgar and I bonded over zombie movies, you know, it's no mistake that we then went on to make one. I've found creative brothers in Nick and Edgar, and they're people I want to make films with for the rest of my life. You know, I feel like that's my squad, you know, that's my home team. We've been slaves to detail and tried to make them as intelligent and as interesting as possible, you know. We don't like to rely on sort of easy comedy. It's fun to be cerebral sometimes, and you know, certainly with a film like The World's End, which is a very personal, you know, it's like a kind of drama filled with jokes, The World's End. We've always been at pains to create things which are meaningful and can be watched a lot more than just once, you know. We never want to make anything disposable, you know. You owe it to an audience to make a film watchable more than once, and in fact to have things in it that you don't notice the first time, you know, what we always call second watch details, things that you'll get from it that you can only get if you see it a couple of times.
We're just 5 friends on a night out, having a good time.
Well, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar.
Yeah, I guess I'm drawn to those sort of things. I like light and shade in my comedy. I like my comedies to be tragic and my tragedies to be funny. You know, I think that's more like life. I think sometimes when you just have a barrage of jokes, it can feel a little hollow. And I think sometimes if you put tragedy into comedy, it makes the jokes funnier, you know? And I'm always attracted to the all-round experience, to something that rings true, a little bit more like life. And certainly those films reflect that. I look back on the Cornetto trilogy, as it's become known, and for me, I'm so proud of that we managed to get 3 films made at all, you know, let alone that I can take pride in them and be, you know, proud of them as movies. Halfway through Hot Fuzz, we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could make 3 of these, you know, and have them be a little unit. And the fact that we actually pulled that off, I'll always be proud of.
冰激凌3部曲的成功为西蒙·佩吉赢了口碑，也带来了机会。僵尸肖恩之后，他一路收获惊喜，一路优质片约不断。从《碟中谍》中的技术奇才班吉，到《星际迷航》中的轮机长斯科特，从传奇经典《星球大战》，再到斯皮尔伯格的科幻新作《玩家1号》。参演一线系列电影对西蒙·佩吉来说似乎已经是稀松平常的事情。 而身为佳片大咖们的银幕宠儿，西蒙也总是能在这一路的幸运与惊喜中自得其乐，获益匪浅。
What does it mean for you to be a part of both Star Trek and Star Wars?
Yeah, I mean, you find yourself on the set of either. If you're suddenly on the bridge of the Starship Enterprise or in the corridors of the Millennium Falcon or whatever, you're kind of like, there's a little bit of wow going on in your head, but you just try and make sure it doesn't affect you as a professional. As a fan of both these things growing up, to now be able to say that I owned the Millennium Falcon briefly, and that I was the engineering custodian of the Starship Enterprise is pretty good.
Absolutely.
It's two famous ships. I mean, I try and find enthusiasm and joy in everything I do. I try not to get too bogged down in the sort of insecurities of it, because I get to play act for a living. That's my job, and there was trepidation going into playing Scotty because he's an established character. He'd already been played by a very capable, a very recognizable, very brilliant man, and James Doohan had owned that character, still does to a degree. I'm keeping it warm for him, But I always try and go in with a positive attitude, not let the fear of getting it wrong get to me.
He is Crawl. He is the reason why you're here. Come with me. Now.
Wait, now hang on a minute, lassie. I'm having a difficult day here. I've got to find my crewmates.
You help me, and I help you.
All right, well, things being as they are, I doubt I'll get a better offer today, so lead the way.
Good. I am Jayla, and you are Montgomery Scott.
Aye, Scotty.
Come now, Montgomery Scotty.
All right, hold up.
What has been your impression or your experience thus far with Ready Player One?
Ready Player One is enormous fun, and we're partway through. I've done a certain section of my work on Ready Player One, and I'm excited to carry on when I get back from the Star Trek press tour. I love working with Steven just because he is a story machine. Like any story Steven tells you will be a part of film history. You'll mention something, and he said, "Oh yeah, I remember Stanley Kubrick and me did," and then you'll just you'll listen to this story, which he tells in the most self-effacing way. It's not like he's crowing. That's his life. He's Steven Spielberg. I love filmmakers with vision and personality. People who are hired to do a job for someone else's agenda, I feel less interested in. Someone who has their own personal take, their own way of doing things, I'm always fascinated by. And I love a director who will come along and explain their vision to you in such a way that everything suddenly makes sense. Spielberg is like that. He's so effortless in the way that he directs, and yet everything he does seems to be intuitively right. And it's so fun to watch people like that. It's awe-inspiring for me to watch creatives who just feel it.
好莱坞多年的闯荡，银幕上一系列的创作，为出道多年的西蒙佩吉写下了靠谱而傲人的演绎成绩。虽然在采访过程中不止一次的自称是超级宅男，谈到未来，马不停蹄的他，工作计划还是应接不暇，惊喜不断。
I'm developing something which I'm hopefully going to direct very soon. I'm working on a number of scripts with my friend Crispian Mills, with whom I made A Fantastic Fear of Everything. Nick Frost and I are starting a production company, which we're in the midst of just getting on its feet. There's lots happening, and I'm still trying to make my own luck now. That's something that you always do as you progress in the industry, because no one else is going to do it for you. I think if you hesitate, if you're not tenacious, if you assume that there's no point, then you're fulfilling your own prophecy. I look back on it now, and there were moments at every stage in my career when I thought, oh wow, look at this, When I walked onto the set of Spaced and I saw that they built the flat that we'd mentioned in the script, or when I walked onto the set of Mission Impossible and I saw Tom Cruise for the first time, or when I put my red shirt on, or when I was on the set of Star Wars. There's hopefully there will always be moments like that when you think, oh, this is good. I'm doing what I want to do.